is a place, like no place on earth, a land full of wonder, mystery, and danger. Some say to survive it, you need to be as mad as a hatter. The Mad Hatter, from Disney's Alice in Wonderland, 2010. Within weeks of Sarah declaring her candidacy for governor of Alaska in November 2005, I joined her crusade for change. Once in office, I continued as a troubleshooting jack-of-all-trades while holding the title Director of Boards and Commissions. Working up to 80 hours a week, I maintained that position during her selection as Senator John McCain's vice presidential running mate, and continued after their defeat. Over our 3 years and 9 months together, my perceptions of Sarah evolved radically. But whatever I thought, Sarah Louise Palin was becoming an amazing political and social phenomenon. Without experience, pedigree, or worldliness, individuals like her don't often achieve statewide, much less worldwide, acclaim. Her story is a patchwork quilt of equal cuts: beauty queen, lottery winner, political populist, Paris Hilton celebrity, and barnstorming evangelist. There is myth and reality to nearly every one of her storylines, whether it is God's chosen one, devoted wife, mother, and political maverick, or unhinged diva, thin-skinned attack dog, and self-absorbed zealot. Sarah slipped into and out of these roles and personalities, unpredictably mixing and matching one to another. The complexity of the Palin psyche kept those around her alert, if not eternally anxious. That Sarah achieved eventual political rock stardom amid such interpersonal turmoil is an only-in-Alaska story. Despite being a geographically massive state, Alaska's population is less than that of Austin, Texas. Of our roughly 700,000 residents, about 40% live in and around the city of Anchorage. Juneau, the state capital, has no direct roads leading in and is accessible only by boat or plane. While Alaska could literally reach from the Atlantic coast to the Pacific coast in the lower 48, locals refer to the state as the biggest small town in America. Outside of Anchorage, population 280,000, Fairbanks, metropolitan area population of about 90,000, and Juneau, 31,000, we Alaskans hail from towns too small to be dots on most maps. When I was 2, my father moved our family from Central California to Kodiak Island, where he taught instrumental music in 3rd grade. While the second largest island in the United States, Kodiak's population was less than 10,000 back in 1972, with our hometown of Kodiak City home to about 1,100 of these residents. The island boasts rainforests and heavy timber harvesting in the northeast, black shale cliffs in the south overlooking both the Gulf of Alaska and the Shelikof Straits, and sandy, rural, windswept vistas in the southwest, down near Alitak Bay and Olga Bay. Like much of Alaska, Kodiak was a throwback to an earlier time, with bars outnumbering churches and schools several times over. Our first stoplight, a blinking affair at a 3-way intersection, was installed around 1980. For my parents, the adjustment from sunny California couldn't have been easy. In the worst of the December nights, I gathered branches or snapped apart pallets for firewood, but there was still little heat. In fact, it was not uncommon to find ice in the toilets come morning. We were poor even by local standards. If it wasn't for the charity of our church, the Kodiak Bible Chapel, and the abundance of salmon, halibut, and crab, we'd have likely starved. As it was, our family of 6, 2 brothers and a sister, often went to bed hungry. Paper routes, frying burgers at a Dairy Queen, and eventually working aboard sometimes dangerous commercial fishing boats became my way of contributing to the family income at an early age. These long hours instilled in me a willingness to work slavishly and an appreciation for people who struggle to keep their heads above water financially. And while a person never becomes accustomed to hardship, we on Kodiak Island accepted our relative isolation, fickle weather, and the ever-present potential for natural disaster as the price we paid for a lifestyle of freedom and self-determination. For instance, we have a volcano just across Shelikof Strait, Mount Katmai, whose 60-hour eruption in 1912 represented the largest of the 20th century. The resulting blanket of soot washed down and covered Kodiak homes with ash that is still evident today when one digs down only a few inches. It was nearly 7 years before the acid-choked waters of Kodiak could support a salmon industry again, but most of the island's early century population of 500 elected to remain and rebuild their lives. On March 27, 1964, a second massive devastation struck the island. Centered less than 100 miles away, the largest earthquake ever recorded in North America, magnitude 9.2 on the Richter scale, struck on Good Friday. Chimneys fell, windows shattered, and roofs caved. Devastating waves from an ensuing tsunami splintered homes and moorings. Like before, the citizens picked up, rebuilt, and started over. This far north, we know that it won't be if we face a next challenge, but when. With these extremes, neighbor depends on neighbor when life hangs in the balance. Once we give our loyalty and word of honor, we do so with conviction and faith. In Alaskan politics, it is no less true.